What's up guys, Ryan here from the Tinstitute. Today I'm going to be showing you a pre-fit on an exterior install with Lumar's NXA 1020, I believe this is. Reason we picked this film is the customer said that they have an issue with dogs scratching the inside of the glass, so I suggested to them we do an exterior install for this film here. I went to prep the outside, and underneath this there was this really rough like rubber caulking on the side, and underneath that was foam. And so while we do explain to customers beforehand that exterior installs are going to bring more contaminants and more issues and more difficulties, foam is just going to create a whole other nightmare that I don't want to deal with. So I'm going to show you how I set this up for pre-fit, and then for anything else like install and stuff like that, check out our other videos on Instagram or on the Tinstitute. So here we go. I'm going to pre-fit, I'm going to wet the glass like you would for an install. If you're familiar with the pre-fit method, this is not going to be new to you. I'm going to set the film, line it to the glass like you would anyway if you were going to just install your piece of film. But obviously you're going to leave the liner on so that you can make sure the film is protected from contaminants. One of the other advantages to doing this, and a great scenario for it, is if you're installing a film that has a lot of heat rejection properties to it, and you're installing with direct sunlight on the glass. What this will allow you to do is get the full piece of film exposed, get it on the glass, and squeegee it out all the way to the edge. So you don't have to worry about buildup of air or bubbles on the sides or anything like that, and that from the start you can push all the way through the end, getting all the water out. For this material, being exterior film, it's kind of thick, and being such a large piece, I would recommend an assistant, because pulling the liner by yourself, this is not a reverse rollable film, I've already tried. So pulling the liner by yourself will be very difficult, especially once the roll's wet and you've cut it. It's going to be a huge pain. So if you can help it, I would suggest doing it with an assistant. So other than not pulling the liner, this is all going to work the same. I'm going to do my relief cuts right now. Let's see here. Film's a little bit thick. It's hard to find where I want to be in the corner, but less is more, as with everything. Hello? We've got a visitor here. Charlotte came out of her web. We got her. No freeloading around here. Put her to work next time. These doors are sliders, so sometimes the edge gets away from me. Let's see, where's my other knife? Oh, just kidding. We'll use this one. All right. Because it's a thicker film on the exterior, and again, avoiding contaminants is the #1 goal, I'm going to use a slightly thicker card than the typical Easy Reach for my cuts as well, just to make sure that once I do go to line the film up, I have a nice, consistent gap that's not too thick, but is going to be just going to aid in keeping contaminants off the edges or the sides of the film. It's a thicker film. Throw that in the trash. Snap a new blade. I am cutting with a 30-degree blade on this, just because it's such a thick film. One other thing to be aware of is this film can act like a dull razor blade and can cut you. So just be mindful when you're cutting these long pieces off the sides and you have a lot curling off the edge, it doesn't reach back over and cut you, or you know, get you hurt on the install, because I can tell you from experience, it's very uncomfortable. And all you other experienced installers out there will understand what I'm talking about and know that it is very uncomfortable for something like that to happen. So I'm gonna do that here. Gonna get down. You got another great advantage to the pre-fit is that I'm not really on a time limit on the film drying out and getting too tacky. I have a larger orange crush that I'll use for the install, but for now I'll continue to use my 5-inch red extractor just to get it tacked to make sure it doesn't slide around too much when I'm doing this. And again, of course, I do have an assistant with me who will pull the liner when it comes time for that. Alright. I'm going to cut away a lot of this excess film here. I did cut a rather large piece of film, quite a bit too large for this window, but my philosophy or my thinking with film that's expensive like this and windows that are this large, I would rather have the piece be 5, 6, 7 inches too large for the window than pull a piece of film that's even a millimeter too short. Because that, think about how much more film you're wasting throwing the whole sheet away over just a couple of extra inches down at the bottom of the piece. So again, just do your relief cuts. Can be tough in those corners back there. It can be done. Finish up your cuts. Also, I know I said I'm using a larger card or thicker card for a slightly larger gap. That doesn't mean I'm doing a gigantic gap either. I'm still aiming for where I would normally aim for maybe something like a 32nd of an inch gap. I'm aiming for something more like maybe a 1/16, maybe a little larger than that. So twice as big of a gap as normal. But also if you pull out a ruler or a tape measure you might have handy, that's still a pretty tight gap. And again, also comparing to the film that was on here before, from the shop that did it before us, their standards aren't that crazy about tight gaps. So the only other thing to this, because you have it, the option and it's ready to go, is to round the corners. You want to come, if I can get the camera a little bit closer here, I'll take the film and just give it a couple of little passes here, round the corners up, get them looking a little nicer, just for ease of install and for longevity. Last step is you roll the film up from the bottom to the top and have someone assist you with pulling the film. I'm going to do that real quick here for you. Or actually, I guess I won't because I still need to do that, but I know I'm running out of time. So note around the corners, and I like to roll from the bottom up. It just helps from getting the film flipped around, easier to keep track of that way. So I guess that'll do it for that. Again, I'm Ryan from the Tinstitute. Let us know in the comments if you have any other questions, anything concerning this install or any other installs. Thank you so much for watching.